of these things. But look what we've got today. So, you've got to finish what you start. If you don't finish it, then you'll never experience that failure, that success that comes from failure.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's absolutely right. It's success just doesn't instantly happen of itself, does it?
No.
There was one more I particularly wanted to find, if I can. Just bear with me. Um, Possibly this one. Right, yeah, this is dress well and you will open all doors. That's an interesting Chinese proverb. Dress well and you will open all doors. Do you think it makes any difference how we dress?
I think it does, actually. I think it does because at first, so this was when I was living in London. I was in college, and uh, and I got on the bus, but I can't remember what happened to my oyster. Did I tried to top it up, but I think I did think that I topped it up the day before, but I didn't. For some reason, maybe the guy said his machine wasn't working or whatever. But I went away thinking I've got made some traveling, so confidently got on the bus. But of course, I
Mm.
was well dressed. I was wearing a tie and neatly dressed, and I got on and I confidently touched it on the oyster reader, and the guy said to me, it didn't read. I thought, what is he talking about? So I did it again, and he said still didn't read. I said, I could have sworn that I could have sworn that I've got money on it. He said, well, he checked his computer and he said, well, it says you've got zero on it, and you've got no day pass or whatever. And I thought, oh. And he said, and then he just took one look at me and he said, you can get on anyway. And I thought, wow. So my dress, my dressing code,
That made a difference, do you think?
it
Do
did,
you think
it
it was how
did,
you presented yourself?
it did, it did, it did.
Yeah.
So if I was wearing a hoodie, and and dressed tatteredly, he probably looked at me and thought he did it on purpose. He just wanted to see if he can get away with it. But for some reason, he looked at me and he thought he looks responsible. He looks decent. He looks like he's got somewhere important to get to. And that's why I read from it. That's why I read from it anyway. So it let me on.
Well, we're seeing that I currently am wearing a hoodie. I'm really quite offended about what you just said, cuz. No, but I'll let that one pass. But no, it is important, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we come almost into the idea of meeting people for the first time, or whether as friends, even distant family, perhaps, or colleagues, or anything else. When you meet someone for the first time, there's different views amongst those concerned, the specialists, the scientists, as to how quickly we actually form an impression of somebody. Some people say 7 seconds, others have said, well, it's about 15 seconds. But either way, we do form a very quick impression of somebody, don't we? For whatever reasons, probably reasons almost that our brain is sorting out in the subconscious that we're not even fully aware of. So yeah, I think it is very important that dress and how you present yourself is a part of that. I guess there's other things I don't know. Do we sense an aura about people? We all supposedly have an aura around us in the color of one sort or another. Maybe we pick that up at a subconscious level as well. But either way, very level as well. But either way, very quickly we form an opinion. And the program I used to watch, a series a few years ago with Hugh Laurie, was House, Doctor House. Did you ever watch that? Yeah,
yeah.
to me, it was one of the one of the finest series I've ever really watched. We're up there with the best of them. He was a doctor who was able to diagnose what were inevitably complicated symptoms, and other doctors, they tried everything, they couldn't find the answer. And anyway, the great thing about that series was that he was always coming out in each episode with great comments which sort of stuck with you. And one was, he often used to say, everybody lies. And by that, I think he meant we often, how often, just something I'm thinking, how often are we really our true selves with other people? Now, we all got different hats, different relationships with different people. But how often are we really ourselves? Do we really live behind this almost a facade, a game face, if you like, that we put on depending on where we are? I suspect that is true, that we do, not because we want specifically to hide parts of ourselves, but it's just human nature, isn't it, to perhaps want to make the best impression, which is not saying we're lying, but maybe it's really, everybody lies is saying, well, we're not giving everything of ourselves, etc., etc. And this is most important or most noticeable when people first meet, I think. So yeah, how we dress, how we look is very important. And I think hoodies are very smart, and I'd have thrown you off the bus as you weren't wearing that in your comment. but actually the point I want to make really is that he said everybody lies, and he said three other comments. He said, the eyes can mislead. So you look at someone for the first time, and we actually do look at people's eyes, and they speak so much. It's like the windows of the soul, isn't it? They can give someone away. They give us away. If people who are telling lies, maybe your dad picked up that your eyes were not, you were a bit awkward, and you said you had this headache to avoid school, and you really didn't. I don't know, but the eyes give a lot away. So he said the eyes can mislead. The smile can lie. Well, we all know that, don't we? We can all smile in some circumstances, but if we're not smiling again with our eyes, it's a fake smile, and that can be seen. So he said the eyes can mislead, the smile can lie, but the shoes always tell the truth. And I really liked that, because actually, I think I've always thought it's important to have good quality shoes, as good a quality as you can afford, really, because somebody else once said you should have a good quality bed and a good